Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Super Anime Bros podcast. As always, I'm your host, Rosario, joined by my brother, Angelo. And today, we're going to talk about something we love.
Welcome back, everyone. So for today's episode, we are back on our countdown.
Yes,
so
we are
at
the
number
final
20,
countdown.
and we're going to do till 16 because we realize we definitely have a lot more to say about some of these shows as we approach our favorites. So we're only going to do 5 each today.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, naturally, as we get closer to the top of the list here, it'll be things that we like more and more. And obviously, with that, we would talk about more and more. I think that we should also note that there will definitely be some crossover between some things that maybe I'll talk about today and you'll talk about next week or the week after. Well, I guess the week after with the countdown. But, I think today the person who's got it on their list is going to express their thoughts on the show, and then the other person can obviously jump in because there will be a lot on here that we both really like. So, with that, I think we can get rolling. Do you remember who went first last time?
I always feel like it's me.
Yeah.
But it's probably, I don't know.
I can go.
Yeah,
I can go.
why not?
For sure. No, actually, I listened back to the last countdown, and I went second. So, yeah.
All right, well, there you go. That's why I feel that way, because it's true.
That it is. So, starting off at number 20 on my list, I have Mob Psycho 100. So this is a show that I think is one of the funniest that I've watched. I still remember seeing the first episode for the first time and just like dying laughing at some of the stuff and being like, Angelo, we have to watch this. And we did grind it for a good long while. And since then have stopped watching it. We stopped somewhere in season 2, oddly enough. There's 3 seasons and it's already complete. And we talk often, I feel, about going back to it.
Yeah, we definitely do.
And we definitely need to finish it. Because I think it blends a lot really well. There's fun action, pretty cool, unique animation. Like I said, it's one of the funniest shows, but it's also really, really heartwarming. I think you've got a main character in Shigeo who's very, very innocent in life. Mm-hmm. And has a crazy world around him, so it's really interesting to see that all unfold. But he's just such a good dude. And I also wrote down, character-wise at least, Reagan is just one of my favorite anime characters.
Oh yeah, I think that's like what I mainly talked about when I talked about Mob Psycho, which was I guess like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't recall.
But yeah, Reagan's the GOAT.
Yeah, he's so funny.
Yeah, without him, I don't know if I would enjoy it nearly as much. Mob's great, and there's a lot of other great characters, but Reagan's the one who like brings it home for me.
Well, I mean, yeah, as far as the show being, I feel like largely a comedy, he is certainly the funniest. I mean, Dimple's pretty funny at times.
Yeah, or the one, I forget the name, the blonde guy who gets the really tall hair.
Yes, that is very funny.
Like half a season 1.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Maybe if we, continue watching, we'll remember his name.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Reagan really, I agree. You had made a good point with him driving it home there. But, yeah, I mean, this has been a really fun show. The powers are cool. Him being a psychic, I think it's a little bit different than some things we've watched. Maybe not. I don't know. Just the animation style is so different based on the artwork by either One or One. I don't know how they address themselves. The same person who does One Punch Man.
Yes, it does look so similar.
But does not draw One Punch Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it looks similar.
Well, so One Punch Man was originally a webcomic, and that was drawn by them, and that's the simple, more simple design. Uh-huh. So you see some of that with when what's One Punch Man's name? Saitama. When he's got like the simple circular head and the eyes that look like they're straight out of Mob. I think that's a little bit left of the original style.
There you go. You learn something new.
But
every day.
Certainly unique. Done by Studio Bones, who also did My Hero. That was the first time I think I'd watched something else that they had done. Mob Psycho is great. Number 20 on my list. I hope we do go back and rewatch or continue the watching. From everything I've seen, I think it ended pretty well. I didn't see any backlash.
Yeah, I think where we were at, where we stopped watching it, was honestly there's like some tough Reagan parts in season 2.
So true.
Which I think that got resolved, and that's like the major arc.
Yeah, I think
and
he
then
totally redeemed
there's like
himself.
the big fight arc next, and that's where we like kind of fell off.
No,
But
Reagan's a good guy.
Like I think we said before, we're saving it for a rainy day.
Yeah,
Because it's something that like
no, it's true.
we both enjoy. I mean,
Without
for
a
me, it
doubt.
was in my top 30. For you, your top 20.
Yeah,
So it's definitely one of our more high-ranking shows between the both of us. So
yeah.
it's definitely something I know we'll get back to.
God, I'm just thinking about details from the show. It's so funny when he joins the Body Improvement Club, and he's supposed to be in middle school, and like all the other dudes in the club are like giant, muscular guys, and he can like barely run.
Yeah,
But he's trying his best. He's trying his best. He really is great.
Yeah, I have a Body Improvement Club
I know,
poster in my room.
That's
And a
awesome.
t-shirt.
A shirt is what I
Yeah.
was thinking, yeah. Pretty electric stuff there. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll go back to it. Like we've been saying last week and when we were doing the summer 2024 kickoff, there's just so much that we're watching right now. It's hard to find the time for anything else.
Yeah, I really haven't watched anything that's not like airing now.
Yeah, I haven't either, to be honest.
Besides, like I was rewatching the quintuplets the other day while I
Nice,
was
yeah,
building
sounds
Lego because I'm like,
about
that's
right.
an easy watch. Like,
Yeah,
I can
sounds
do
about
while I
right.
build.
Yeah, I haven't watched anything on my own, to be honest. I spend all my free time gaming or on YouTube. Just because, yeah, we have devoted a lot of our free time, especially together, to the summer 2024 shows. So maybe Mob will be something we come back to in a slower season. But yeah, at number 20, I thoroughly enjoy it. It's got so many great qualities. Blends a lot of things really well, which I think is going to be a common theme.
Yeah, I realized that when I was like doing a lot of these shows. I'm like, wow, they blend like multiple elements so well.
I think that depth or that, being able to skate multiple genres is just more enjoyable in a lot of things. Not to say that other shows are shallow if they're focusing on one thing, but when it hits a lot of the keys that you want to have it hit, I think it just makes us like it a little better. So yeah, that's my number 20.
All right, so moving on to my number 20, which you did already talk about. I don't know, maybe a couple times ago.
Dude, that's very low on my or high on my list.
Awashi. It's a soccer show.
It's great.
It's great. It's is he in middle school and going to high school?
I have no clue.
Ashi Toawi. He's like from a small town in Japan, and he's excellent at soccer, but he doesn't know how to like be a team player at all.
Team for sure.
So, but he does end up trying out for like the big junior team. I guess I don't know if they're
probably do
junior
well
high.
with Blue Lock. Just want to score goals.
Yeah, he definitely would be a good character in Blue Lock. But that's one of the best parts about this show is you see him kind of develop into learning how to look at soccer as something bigger than just him scoring goals.
Yeah.
He sees it as a
It's super
sport
cool.
and a team sport.
It's super cool.
And there's so many other great characters in that show. And so much good character development as they all learn how to work together as a team, and they all have their own quirks and their own problems that they learn to work out together.
Yeah, and I like
And this was a show for me. It got me to enjoy soccer.
Dude, yeah.
Like I remember after we watched it, I like put on my jersey from the show, and we
Yeah.
went to the park. And I'm like, dude, let's kick a soccer ball. Which growing up,
Yeah,
we
let's-
never played
let's
soccer, and
watch
I
it
never
again,
really,
dude.
I
watch
never
it.
really
You
got
dude,
into soccer.
You played FIFA.
Yeah, I
with me.
played FIFA with you. This show, that's the power of Awashi.
Yeah, that was
It got
huge.
me to enjoy soccer.
That was huge.
But I did write again that it's a good mix. It has like a lot of great comedy elements, a lot of good like action, and I really like all the different character development moments. And there's even like some romance in there too. So
yeah, for sure.
I think it really captures everything I like about a show. So
Yeah.
even though it's not like a super popular show,
No,
who
no.
knows if it'll get
Yeah.
another season.
I doubt it at this point, but I mean, who's to say? with
But
everything,
I'll stand by it. It's a great show to me. So
Yeah.
that's all I got to say about
sure.
it. If you have anything you want to add, I mean, obviously you did talk about it before.
Yeah, I mean, it is really enjoyable. From like just speaking from the sport perspective, he goes from trying to be a striker to they put him at like left back in an attempt to be able to see the whole pitch and kind of create a little bit, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's a fun position to be in. I really like that aspect of it. I think it's cool. I love the sport, so it's fun to see. Fun to see that in anime.
I did forget one thing to add. the first opening for that show.
Yeah.
It was so hard. That was one of the other things that got me super excited.
I'll echo
about
that
the
for
show.
Mob Psycho. Like, the Mob Psycho openings are so good by the Mob Choir.
Yeah, I don't know. That Awashi one, like, that would just, like, it'll hype you up so much.
Yeah. That's really high on your list.
Like, that's
isn't
like
it?
a show I'll want to. Yeah, it's in our opening list. We also have one of those.
Yeah, we like lists.
But yeah, that one's really high up for me. It's awesome. Like that. Like if I hear that come on, like if I'm trying to work out, like I'll just start pumping iron or running faster. It's such a hype song. So
No, I do agree.
had to add that little.
I do agree.
Part at the end there.
All right. So moving down to number 19. I have Rent a Girlfriend. The first bullet point I put under this is not as bad as people think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Thinking back, I definitely was first exposed to this at the bookstore. I remember seeing the manga and like Rent a Girlfriend that as a title stands out. As a concept, very, very interesting and different.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even remember why I ended up watching it. I was just like, I guess, on the hunt for romance shows, and it was when we were still like really new into watching anime.
Yeah, fairly new.
I remember I watched it all in like a pretty quick succession when I was still at school. It was the first time I had used Crunchyroll. Before that, we had used Funimation primarily, and this was only on Crunchyroll. I watched it with ads, and then when I said we gotta watch.
Yeah,
this.
When we were watching, I'm like, I can't. Like this,
can't
I can't wait. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so we've been Crunchyroll subscribers since then because
Yeah.
Angelo doesn't like ads. Understandably so. It is
Well, a lot of shows are you have to have premium
exclusive,
now
yeah.
anyway, so
Yeah.
it's not that expensive.
No, it's worth it. I mean, we're getting a lot of use out of it.
Yeah,
obviously.
we definitely get a lot of use out of it.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's a really enjoyable show. I think it's funny. I can understand how some of the slow burn development rubs people the wrong way. I certainly, when watching a romance, obviously wanted to get to that climax. Want it to get to a point where the two people whom we think are going to end up together do. But a lot of the fun is the journey and the trip along the way. Now, Rent a Girlfriend is maybe a little longer than most when it comes to that. I think manga-wise, like I read this every week. It's one of the few things I still read every week. We're in like the mid 300s chapter-wise, which is pretty darn long for a romance.
Yeah.
And it is just still going. But there certainly has been a lot of fun development along the way. I think, what's the anime been, like 3 seasons?
It's 3 seasons.
3
There's like
seasons,
25 volumes out, like on paper.
Yeah.
Because I'm like 3 volumes behind. I have sitting next to my bed
Yeah.
that I have not read.
Dude, it's really good. Like, I think it's really fun. The main character, Kazuya, is pretty pathetic, at least to start.
Yeah, very pathetic.
It's very pathetic.
You get to see him to see him grow.
You see him get to grow to a stage of competence, and especially in season 3, like he's really making stuff happen, just in a sense of being able to get things done as a young adult. I think I don't know if they're first or second year in college. He's supposed to be like
like 20 something. Because there's time passes because there's a part where
yeah,
they have the
definitely
boozer.
Celebrate her birthday.
They celebrate
birthday,
like their 20th.
20, yeah.
Yeah,
The boozer, yeah.
So they're like 20-ish.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of fun characters, whether it be, our main character Kazuya. You can kind of laugh at his pain a little bit, but then also, I'm a pretty big self-insert into the MC kind of guy. So you can understand a lot of where he's coming from, especially with like overthinking. Like he's just overthinking the person.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to like think that girls would want to like him.
Yeah, that just too is relatable.
Especially not one like Mizuhara.
Yeah, just a perfect girl. But yeah, I mean, just a lot of fun characters, whether it's him or Mini, Chizuru is a great.
Ruka,
true.
I know you're not a Ruka fan
I'm
am.
not a Ruka stan, but I do think
she makes the show so much
she is
more
definitely
interesting.
very funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like, even thinking back, and obviously this is an anime countdown, but it's impossible to separate anime and manga in my head when I know the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being at school, and one night I put on the music from Your Lie in April, as I often
Like
do.
OST or
both the score,
piano
the piano,
music?
and the actual score from the show.
So both.
Just a playlist I have. And I read Rent a Girlfriend for hours. Like this was after. It must have been after season 2, but maybe it was even after season 1. And like I read past where the anime even is right now. Like I read hundreds of chapters.
I did that for, well, I guess I didn't do hundreds. For Oshinoko, I read like from where season 1 ends till
I avoided spoilers, by the way.
Chapter 150. What, was somebody trying to spoil?
No,
Oshinoko
but in my 15 minutes on Instagram, I got JJK spoilers, but I did not get.
Yeah, don't look at those.
The JJK leaks are crazy, by the way. JJK 5 chapters left, pretty wild stuff.
Dude, now you're dating the video.
Whatever.
Yeah, it is crazy, dude.
It could be like a time capsule.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've been talking for a really long time, but yeah, I think this show gets a really bad rap, and I can understand where people are coming from, but it's something that I enjoy, and I know you do as well. I'm watching so many different things, I'm reading so many different things, I'm paying attention to all these different stories. Most of them do come to conclusions. It's okay for me to have one that's just an ongoing good in my life. I'm really okay with that. So yeah, Rent a Girlfriend number 19.
Yeah, I definitely can vouch for that. You might hear more about it later.
Yeah, you really might hear more about it later.
Yeah, maybe. No
know.
spoilers though. But I'll keep it rolling here to my number 19, which I'm not going to talk about too much. It's Dr. Stone.
Yeah, thank you.
Because it's something that I know if you watch listen to the first episode, you know that it's something that I'm trying to get my brother here to watch. So
yeah.
I don't want to spoil too much.
I'm definitely interested. Like having seen 2-3 episodes.
I think like 3 episodes.
It's enjoyable.
We fell off, but like I said, we're watching so much right now. But yeah, the show is great. I think it's another one that has a good blend, but this show has like one of the best sets of characters in any show I've ever watched. Like it has so many that are different, so unique, and every character you can really understand their motivations, understand why they make the decisions they do. Because in this world where everyone was turned to stone minus a very select few.
Whoa!
Yeah, watch first 5 minutes of the show. Everybody gets turned to stone. Senku, the main guy, finds a way to not be turned, get unturned to stone, and then he wants to rebuild civilization exactly the way it was.
Pretty lofty goal.
It is a pretty lofty goal, especially for a high schooler.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's 2,000 years old now. So.
True.
But he is the only guy who's smart enough to do it. He's a friggin' genius.
Yeah.
So
it would seem.
Yeah, I really love this show too, because there would be like a lot of times where he tries to reinvent like something from the real world, and it's so creative the way he finds a way to do it. It's so enjoyable.
That's cool.
Absolutely enjoyable. I cannot wait for you to watch more. A lot of great characters. I don't know who you're gonna like the best. Probably Senku, right? Yeah. And this show also, I wanted to add, has a great dub cast. If you watch dubs, this is definitely one to give a shot to.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I know there's a lot of big hitters in there.
Yeah, a lot of definitely our personal favorites.
Yeah, for sure.
So
for sure.
Definitely a lot to love there. So yeah, I guess that's all I'm gonna say right now. We'll have to check back in once we watch more, because really the really cool stuff I want to talk about, I can't.
Yeah.
So later.
I appreciate that. I think that as we get back into some of the shows we were talking about, starting toward the beginning of the podcast, not to date ourselves.
I'm
kidding. I do think we'll obviously talk about them as we go back and watch them eventually. So yeah, more to come. So let's move on to number 18. My number 18 is Anohana. A really good show. I don't want to say that it's always enjoyable to watch. In fact, it's oft difficult.
Yeah.
It really, really hits you in the heart. But with that, I think it's a pretty beautiful show. Not to get too deep into it, because I know that you like this one a lot.
Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no clue what you're talking about.
I mean, you've watched it multiple times, whereas I've only seen it once.
Yes,
I'll say
that
is a fact that I can say. But a show largely about some young adults whose growth is stunted after a tragedy. They all hold some sort of guilt or resentment or just all kinds of painful feelings with them. The show is set 10 years after this certain tragedy. And it kind of shows them putting pieces back together. And really, I think it's about learning to accept the tragedy and eventually move on from it, as painful as that may be. And premise-wise, some of it is not realistic, with like kind of ghosts, I'll say.
Unless you believe in that sort of
fair,
thing.
That's fair.
But yeah,
that's fair.
Definitely some supernatural elements.
But as far as like lessons that can be valuable in real life, I think that this is a really, really powerful one. Especially if it's something that you feel as though you have fault in. It can be so difficult to let go in hard situations and move on and grow. So I do think this is a beautiful show in that way, that it shows the characters be able to do that, each in their own way. I think it's got some fun characters. Popo stands out as a beast.
Yeah, he's goated.
He's goated. That's funny. I was about to say that, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool show. It's really, really powerful. Without like getting into too terribly much, I really would recommend it to anybody who's watching anime and wants to have a show with a story that's super powerful and is enjoyable along the way. I'm not going to pretend like it's terrible, sad from start to finish. There's ups and downs for sure, but it's a story with depth, and it's a story that I think is really, really cool. So that's my number 18.
Yeah, agree. It's a great show. I might talk about it later. I don't know. But it definitely does have a very powerful story. It has a lot of ups and downs. It's kind of a roller coaster too, where it can be so emotional. There's like a couple scenes I'm thinking of right now that are like, oh. Yeah. But then there's just as many moments that are like great and happy. Yeah. So it definitely has a good mix. If I haven't said that about every show yet.
Right.
But moving on here. My number 18 is Clashing with the Elite.
Ooh.
And this is a show. It's, 3 seasons now?
3 seasons.
I think when you talked about it, you did briefly talk about the plot, where it's like a super prestigious school where they have like point systems, and your class, when you get more points, you can move up from being like the D tier class all the way up to the A. Does the A class get anything when they graduate? I don't remember.
I feel as though they get like... Either like they definitely get some sort of like move on to the university there, and then probably like guaranteed jobs and something like
Yeah, I think anybody who can graduate there
probably
usually pretty set for a job. That's why they subject themselves to this crazy school where they have like different
what kind of jobs they're trying to get.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like you're preparing to like move on to Danganronpa or like some crazy death game or something crazy.
I guess, dude.
I don't know. This show, it's a little nuts.
It is kind of like a death game light.
Yeah, but like not
death. Light. Yeah, death game light.
Yeah, it's very strange for high school to do this, but it is so interesting. And it's a show I said that makes me think a lot, and it has a lot of great moments. I wouldn't say comedy at all.
Not really.
I don't really laugh while watching this, but I enjoy it nonetheless. Really. And there's not a lot of romance either.
Unfortunately,
which are
not.
Really, my two favorite genres. This does not really do any of it.
One cold and calculating MC.
Yeah, Ayana Koji, he is very cold, but he's so smart that like even when he does things that are just like, man, or when he goes on a speech about like how people are just tools, you still love him because he's just that friggin' smart. Yeah. And he's that cool.
Yeah. Takui. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good way
where we're at now, at the end of season 3,
he's trying to learn how to be a person a little bit.
Yeah, he like may or may not ask a girl to date him. He wants to learn about romance.
For scientific purposes.
Maybe he also, I think he did say like he wants to understand like having fun in high school because like that's what normal kids do.
Yeah, I just have the feeling that she's just not gonna do that.
No, it always ends up in tragedy in that show. But I want to see Ayana Koji like be a normal person every once in a while.
Yeah, it is cool.
Every once in a while, you see like a little crack in the armor,
Yeah.
but he's still cold as hell.
Without a doubt. Yeah, dude. I mean, the twists and turns in the show are great. Like not knowing what's coming next. It's
Every
not
time there's like a
predictable, which is
challenge and
great.
like something crazy happens. Not always even Ayana Koji, but like another class or another person from another class doing something unexpected. And like every time I'm like trying to figure out what's gonna happen.
What's coming next?
And I never can figure out how anybody does it.
Yeah.
What's the one? The kid from the guy from Ryuan. The one challenge where they have to like survive on an island, and the rest of his class all gives up, and he just does it by himself.
That is naughty. Dude.
And I don't know what place they get. I think they get like second or something. Yeah. It's just so cool.
Yeah, it is.
And then Saki Inagi, she's the one from Class A. She's a super cool character too. Like how she goes through like this elaborate plan with like this expulsion game just to get somebody expelled who accidentally tripped her. Yeah. Like it's crazy the things these characters do and how smart they are and the different schemes. It's just so entertaining. And where we're at now, it seems like too the school is scheming too.
Yeah.
Against Ayana Koji, so he's like gotta compete with the other classes, and now a lot of the faculty at the school. So it's like him against the world.
It is.
It's pretty cool though. So can't wait for more to come out. Can't wait. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I just talked about it 2 weeks ago. I think you hit it good.
Yeah, great show.
Yeah, it is. It is.
We can say that about everything, though.
True. I mean,
great show.
Especially. Alrighty, number 17. Number 17. I don't want to spoil more of your list, so I won't. Maybe in saying that I did. I don't know. Anyway, my number 17 is Fruits Basket. So this was something that Anne showed me. You showed me.
I hate that show. I don't know if the mic got that.
It might have
stepped away. Refilling my water. There's a lot of shows on your list today that I really like.
Yeah, there really is. And a lot of shows on your list that I already talked about.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
It is. Anyway, Fruits Basket's a really, really cool show. Once again, blends a lot of fun genres, whether it's comedy, romance, drama, supernatural. It hits checks a lot of boxes.
It does.
But I think this is one of the best shows I've watched in terms of character development. You really get to know some of these characters and understand what drives them and understand past pains and overcoming that and growing. It's really, really cool. It's a fun bunch of misfits in a lot of ways. Is this family?
The Soma family
that Toru is thrust into. As a main character, Toru is pretty fantastic. She's just awesome all around. Like wanting to learn about other people, so caring. Really, really cool from that aspect of things. I do like when I first watched it. I picked a favorite of it. There's initially a love triangle. I thought it was playing out that was going to be the main point of the show, and that would last till the end. It didn't necessarily do that, and my favorite person didn't win. So
he won.
He won in his own way.
Yuki has a 5.
Whoa! Spoilers.
You just said he didn't win.
I just said
they watched the show and
I said that my favorite. They don't know who my favorite is.
This is a spoiler. The show.
That's true. That's fair. I figured you'd spoil more when you talk about it. Anyway. My Yuki was my favorite character watching it the first time. I can acknowledge that Kyo probably grows more, or at least in a more obvious and visual way. But I don't
even know what he wins anyway, so it's not a spoiler.
I mean,
wins at life.
No, I was just saying anyway.
Whatever. What constitutes a winner?
Nothing. Anyway, I liked Yuki a little bit more as a character, and I've said in times where we've gone back to rewatch it a little bit, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a Kyo watch through, and it's better. Like I like him more, but Yuki's just still my favorite. But no, I mean, he has plenty of growth, and yeah, it ends up in a much better spot than when he started. I'll say that. So I am very content with his character arc. Hatsuharu, I as well, is one of my favorites. He was a really cool character, just somebody who's super strong and always there for the people who need him. Yeah, a lot of great characters. So much depth in the show. Three seasons, and it really, like, not a whole lot of filler going on. Like, it gets to the point and fleshes out a bunch of characters, which is super cool. I enjoy a lot of the funny moments, whether it's Cinderella-ish or something of the sort. Great episode.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I really do enjoy the show. So, as I've said with some other shows, and as I'm sure I'll say again, I think that if I were to complete a full rewatch of this, it maybe would get bumped up. I've definitely seen a lot of episodes multiple times. I've seen, from the beginning. We started again that one time and got pretty far.
What, like halfway through season 1 or something?
I think we got through more than that. I don't know. And then I sat down. You were doing a watch through of your own not that long ago, and I sat through a bunch of those episodes that were later on.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think that I won't do it as much justice as you, but this was something that we once again watched pretty early on, and has remained a consistent solid show for me. Probably thinking about how long ago I did watch the full thing is another aspect to why it's a little bit lower than maybe it should be or deserves to be. Certainly if I were ranking this in terms of quality rather than just sheerly my favorites, I think it would be a lot higher. Mm-hmm. But the long and short of it is, number 17, I really would recommend this show as well to anybody. And I look forward to maybe hearing you talk about it more.
Maybe. Speaking of quality shows, my number 17 is High School DxD.
Quality show.
Right, as you called it, the boob show.
Yeah.
It, I guess you could say it's the most degenerate thing I've ever watched.
Yeah.
And enjoyed. This really, but this show is great. Like, what's not to like?
Nothing, yeah.
It's... I don't even know what to say about this show. It's so funny. Here's what I'll say. If there weren't boobs in it, I would still enjoy it.
Yes,
it might not be number 17.
Yeah.
But it would be top 30. I really enjoy it. It is definitely not something I really watch anything else like. There's a show about angels and devils and fallen angels. I don't really get into I don't really get into like the religious type shows with that. But it's really cool. So it's about a young man, Issei, who gets murdered by his first girlfriend.
Damn.
And then is saved by a devil who goes to school with him, named Rias Gremory. Yeah. And she saves him and makes him a pawn in her like devil court. Yeah. I forget what they call it. They're like group. Yeah. And all their like different people in the group have different chess pieces, and he's a pawn. There's like knights, Rias is the king, a queen.
Familiar with
you've in case any of our listeners here I never played chess before, but they all have their own different strength because of their chess pieces, and Issei uses his pawn abilities to get stronger, and he also happens to be born with one of the greatest powers in the universe, the world, the power of the Red Dragon Emperor, which he's destined then to fight the White Dragon, which we do see some fighting there, but he kind of puts his own spin on the Red Dragon Emperor because he becomes known as the Breast Dragon Emperor or the Grabbing Dragon.
What was he grabbing?
Jump, please. We'll get to that in a minute. Yeah. But he powers up with his love of boobs, so he'll think about boobs or do something crazy.
Powers you up,
and he gets stronger and stronger, and is able to do basically anything he puts his mind to.
Yeah. And
he gets a reputation in the underworld for his boob power-ups, and they give him his TV show, and he has his own theme song.
Yes.
And that is the best part of the show.
It's so good, yeah. It's so funny.
It's so funny. Absolutely hilarious. And the last point I wanted to talk about with this is the dub.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite dubs of all time. I know we've been talking, I always talk about dubs, but this one honestly, I'd put it in like my top 5.
It's very
favorite
funny,
dubs.
yeah, it is very
This,
funny.
in the dub, they made it a point to not say boobs more than like once per episode. Because if you watch like the Japanese, they just say opai.
Opai.
Which it's fine. It's very funny, but like the different like words they come up with instead of saying boobs, like jumblies.
Yeah.
I don't know the other good ones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bags.
Yeah, it's too much. It's really, the show is like completely balls to the wall.
It is too much.
But I enjoy it because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of great characters, great vocal performance by Jesse James.
Yeah.
And they dubbed the song the
It's
Grab
so
and
good.
Dragon song, and it is so
Yeah.
friggin' funny.
What I wanted to say when you're especially talking about the song and the dub, like we met Jessie Greeley at a convention, and like she sang some of the song. We were like talking about it, and we like got to like sing along.
Yeah, it was
just,
really
like,
a surreal experience.
It was so funny. It was so funny. What a moment. Yeah, that's all I got.
But it's a great show. I mean, what's not to like? I already said that, but
Yeah,
it really, what's not to like?
yeah,
But yeah, for a show about boobs, it has some surprising depth. I thought it would not have had the depth that it had. It's not like a super deep show, but like there's more than zero depth.
yes,
Which is surprising for
we are not
High School
sea
DxD.
level,
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it'll get another season. I feel like all the time I always say, "Oh, another season revealed," and then it's like just
not
clickbait.
true,
Someday,
yeah.
I feel like even more now, like different shows are like more accepted for being degenerate shows. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's always been that way.
That probably has. I think we just are not exposed to it.
Yeah, we're not as we're like not sensitive to it anymore. We're desensitized.
I mean, I don't
from
want to
High
say
School
I'm
DxD.
fully desensitized, but yeah.
That show ran so other shows could run.
I guess, dude. I guess.
All right, it's fine. You can talk about what you want. I'll stop talking.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, obviously, I talked about the show previously.
Not a family-friendly show. Would recommend the end.
They're good. Okay. No, I do think it's very funny. I talked about it, of course, myself as well. And I'm happy I watched it. But yeah, like it is.
Yeah, I'm happy you finally gave it a shot because,
Yeah.
like, I'd say you enjoyed it at least more than zero.
Oh, without a doubt.
You
Yeah.
enjoyed it like
Yeah.
marginally.
Marginally.
I said margarinely.
That's the fake butter.
Yeah, I know what margarine is.
Alrighty. I've said already, I think, to.
Alrighty then.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Anyway, to finish off my portion of today's list, we're going to talk number 16. My number 16 is Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. This was a show that I watched, I think, the first episode to a while ago. And I did not watch anything past that. I don't remember if it was like on the front page of Crunchyroll or what, if it was just popular. I mean, it is fairly popular. But yeah, I watched the first episode, did not go back to it immediately.
Yeah, you actually told me like it's not that good.
I don't know either what I missed when I first watched it or what happened when I came back to it. I don't even know why I came back to it. But I fell in love with this show. I mean, enough to put it at number 16. Like, that's pretty wild. I binged it pretty hard after rediscovering it. I binged the manga pretty hard. The manga's now over within the last couple months. I really like the show. I don't know why. I don't understand it fully why I enjoy it so much, but I really do. It's not quite what it seems. It definitely starts out that way with her just antagonizing our main character, Senpai. But
Yeah.
it gets to be really heartwarming. I think it's absolutely hilarious. And yeah, even season 2 is really, really cute. As things start to progress and develop. I think, maybe it was just a childish way of showing affection, is teasing. And isn't that the truth,
Yeah, absolutely.
maybe a little bit more hardcore than just some light teasing. Nothing too crazy. Like, I don't want to make it sound like the show's, like perverted.
Well,
no, not really.
to a certain extent.
Not really, though.
I guess.
Not really. I mean, she definitely calls him a perv, I guess.
Yeah, like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, but it's not really like that at all, in my opinion. Yeah, I really like it. I like the development. I like the comedy. Once again, a fun cast of characters, like some real cuckoos. Whether it be people involved with the art club or Nagatoro's friends.
Yeah, they're all wild.
They are. It's a wild group of people.
And like one normal dude who just wants to paint.
Yeah. But no, I think it's fun. Like, they added more depth to Nagatoro in season 2 with like her past love of judo and getting back into it. Senpai obviously being part of the art club, enjoys drawing and wants to make a future of it. So it's cool to see them, have their own paths, but also come back to each other at the end of the day. It's really good. It's really, really, really awesome. I'm very happy that I went back and watched it. I don't know what got me to do it, like I said, but I'm super happy that I did. I really, this one just hit for me, and I can't fully describe it, like I said, but yeah, number 16. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, I don't even think Senpai made my list. Like
That's
my
crazy.
top 50.
That's nuts, dude.
It's not to say I don't like the show. I do like it.
That's nutty.
Even after you told me it's bad, I watched the first season, and then you came around. You're like, dude,
you watched the whole first season?
Yeah, I watched the first season without you because you told me it was bad. And I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Like, what's not to like?
Maybe I just didn't get it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess you just didn't get it. Maybe I don't get it. It didn't even make my list.
That's true.
But that's not to say, like I said, it's not that I don't like it. There's just a lot of stuff I like. There's only very few anime that I've watched I didn't enjoy. So,
yeah,
Senpai's a good show.
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend.
Yeah. Also, you can always refer to it as senpai.
Yeah, that's what we
we'll
do.
just know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, moving on here. My number 16.
Bring it home, brother.
Is Dragon Ball Super.
Oh, baby.
And that's the one my one note is the one that started it all.
Ain't that a fact?
It definitely, if you listen to our first episode, once again, you would know. But this is a show that really started everything for me. And I guess in turn for us, because after I watched Super, I watched non-Dragon Ball anime. And that's what got us to be here right now. So if we didn't watch Super, we would not be here. I think it's a great show. Obviously, I have a lot of Dragon Ball hot takes, but Super's my favorite of the Dragon Ball series. I think it's got once again, a good blend of comedy and of action, which I feel like Super kind of went back to its roots. I think having not seen Dragon Ball, obviously, I think it finds a healthy middle. Yeah, I think Dragon Ball is a little I guess you would say too goofy, and then Dragon Ball Z for me is too serious and long fights, and I think Super really does blend that well. It makes the Dragon Ball universe so much bigger with making a whole multiverse, but that just means there's more strong fighters for Goku to fight. Yeah, that's true. And there's the tournament at the end, the Tournament of Power is so cool. There's a lot of great moments, and they even give cool moments to characters who we haven't seen be cool since Dragon Ball, or the beginning of Z. For sure. There's a really cool Master Roshi episode in Super that I just love, and a lot of great moments, obviously. With a lot of cool Yamcha scenes. There's a great Yamcha episode. It is fantastic. There is, right? Yeah. But endlessly great, or an endless amount of great Goku and Vegeta moments. So many, yeah. So that's if you like either of those characters, which most people do if you're watching Dragon Ball, then you're going to be in luck. But yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much more, because I might talk about it next week. Ooh, okay. I wasn't sure what you were talking about. Yeah, that's my big reveal, because I know when we talked the other day, I'm I think I'm going to do Classroom. Well, yeah, I mean, you talked a lot about Classroom of the Elite today, so I was thinking to myself, do I text him and be like, hey, dude, save something for next week? Well, here's my thinking is, Awashi, I don't know if I want to read ahead. I kind of want to see what's going on. If there's going to be an anime, and I don't really know if I want to talk about it for that long because it's not a super popular show. It'll just be me saying, like, hey, I really like it. Dr. Stone, didn't want to spoil anything for you.
Respect.
I did spoil everyone for Fruits Basket, but that's fine. Class from the Elite, I did not want to have to read ahead because that's something we watched together.
Yeah.
And I wanted to respect that.
I didn't know you would read ahead. Fair enough.
You usually don't do that with shows.
I don't.
Like My Hero.
I was.
You just read ahead.
Come on, like,
You just, like, even though something I showed you, you know how it ends, like, years before I'm gonna.
what am I to
But
say?
that's fine.
I enjoy reading.
But
manga.
I respect that, so I didn't want to read ahead without you.
You're not kidding. Who are you kidding? You wouldn't read a light novel. Come on.
I would read a cliff notes of it. I've read a light novel. I read the first book of Toradora, a light novel. High School DxD, I would have to read ahead again, or just talk about boobs for another half hour.
Yeah.
So I'd be more likely to read ahead, or just get like a list of all
I
the
feel
different.
like to do the deep dive, you
I
don't
could
necessarily
get like
need to read ahead.
all the different like ways they say boobs in the show, and just read them off. For
That'd
a
be pretty
half hour.
hilarious.
But I think I want to do.
Are you gonna
Super.
read ahead in DBS?
I was thinking about it.
Yeah, there you go.
But Dragon Ball Super also has like 160 episodes of anime.
Yes.
None of these shows have
Plenty
that.
of content. Yeah.
So, and that's a show that I think Super means the most to me out of all these shows. So
Yeah.
I figure let's talk about it next week.
Sounds good.
Do you have any idea of what you want to do?
I do. Just in closing on Dragon Ball Super, I did want to say, like, obviously we'll talk about it once more. But, yeah, I mean, it was really special watching that together. I think that set us down a real path that I've thoroughly enjoyed over the last couple of years, and it brought us to where we are right now.
Yeah,
That's
if we hadn't watched Super,
pretty crazy.
we would have never got to watch High School DxD.
So true. Wow.
And what would life be like without it?
I just don't know. Anyway, for me next week, to close out, I will be... Okay. Next week, In Defense of Rent-A-Girlfriend by me. I think I'm gonna deep dive it, and I'll talk about a lot of the things I like.
Woo! Rent-A-Girlfriend!
Maybe I'll address some things that other people don't like, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I will defend that show, and I think it'll be a good time.
Yeah, we'll get to really talk about the two sides of a guy.
True.
Dragon
Very
Ball.
true. Yes.
And
That's a good one.
Rent-A-Girlfriend.
It's the duality of man.
Damn straight.
But with that, thank you everybody for listening. It's been fun to do this countdown, and as we get toward the top, yeah, it's great to talk about some of these really, really hype shows. Not to describe Rent-A-Girlfriend as hype, but you know what I mean.
It's hype.
It's hype. Yeah.
There's a couple hype moments.
Fair. But yeah, thank you everybody, and we will see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.